Imagine this. You're walking down the street and you see someone trip and fall. Instantly you think they're clumsy. But what you don't see? They're recovering from surgery. Their leg is weak. In that single moment, your brain made a judgment that felt absolutely certain, but was completely wrong. This happens to you thousands of times a day. And the scariest part? You have no idea it's happening. This is the world Daniel Kahneman reveals in Thinking Fast and Slow, a Nobel Prize-winning exploration of how your mind actually works. And trust me, it's nothing like what you think. So what's really going on in your head? Let's find out. Part 1. The two systems. Here's the revolutionary insight. Your brain doesn't have one thinking mode. It has two. Kahneman calls them System 1 and System 2, and the difference between them explains almost every mistake you make. System 1 is your fast brain. It's automatic, intuitive, and lightning quick. Right now, without thinking, you can recognize a friend's face. You can understand this sentence. You can feel afraid when you hear a sudden noise. System 1 does all of this instantly, without effort. System 2 is your slow brain. It requires concentration. It's analytical. It's what you use when you solve complex math problems, learn something new, or make an important decision. System 2 is deliberate and exhausting. It demands energy. Here's what's fascinating. Most of your life, System 1 is running the show, but System 1 has a dark secret. Are you ready? Part 2. The illusions of System 1. System 1 is lazy. It takes shortcuts. It makes assumptions. And it's incredibly confident about those assumptions, even when they're completely wrong. Kahneman discovered something called cognitive biases. These are mental errors your brain makes automatically. Let me give you a real example. You meet a woman. She's quiet, organized, and loves reading. Now I ask you, is she more likely to be a librarian or a nurse? Most people say, librarian. But here's the problem. There are far more nurses in the world than librarians. Statistically, she's far more likely to be a nurse. Your brain ignored the math and went with the stereotype instead. This is called the representativeness heuristic. Your brain judges probability by how well something fits the pattern, not by actual data, and it happens constantly. You see a confident CEO and assume they're competent, even if their company is failing. You see a sad person and assume they've had a bad day, not realizing they might be naturally introverted. You see a coincidence and assume it's meaningful, when it's just random. Your System 1 brain is pattern matching, not truth-seeking. But wait, there's more. Part 3. Anchoring the power of first impressions. Here's an experiment Kahneman actually ran. He had two groups of people. He asked them, is the percentage of African nations in the UN higher or lower than 65%? Then he asked them to estimate the actual percentage. The group that heard 65% guessed around 45%. The other group, which heard 10% first, guessed around 25%. Same question, different answers. Why? Because their brains became anchored to the first number they heard. Even though both groups knew the number was random, their estimates were pulled toward it. This is the out-anchoring effect. In negotiations, whoever suggests the first number often wins. In stores, the original price anchors you to think the sale price is a better deal, even if the original price was fake. Your System 1 brain absorbed that first number, and it influenced everything after. This is why first impressions are so powerful, and so dangerous. Part 4. The availability heuristic. What you remember shapes reality. Let me ask you something. What's more common, heart attacks or car accidents? Most people say heart attacks. But statistically, car accidents kill more people in most countries. So why do people think heart attacks are deadlier? Because they remember more stories about heart attacks. The news covers them more dramatically. They feel more real to us. This is the availability heuristic. Your brain thinks something is common because you can easily remember examples of it. If your friend recently had a car accident, suddenly you think car accidents are everywhere. If you hear about a plane crash, you become terrified of flying, even though you're statistically safer in a plane than driving to the airport. Your experience becomes your reality. And here's the danger. In the age of social media, algorithms show you more of what you already see. Your feed becomes an echo chamber. System 1 thinks, everyone believes this because I keep seeing it. But you're not seeing reality. You're seeing what you've been shown. Part 5. The illusion of understanding. Kahneman discovered something he calls the illusion of understanding. Here's how it works. You hear a story. It makes sense. It has characters, cause and effect, a logical flow. Your System 1 brain processes it smoothly, and suddenly you feel like you understand it. But understanding isn't the same as truth. Imagine a CEO takes over a company. In the first year, profits rise 30%. People say, wow, great leadership, improved. What if the previous CEO set things up perfectly? We construct narratives that feel true because they're coherent. Kahneman warns, beware of experts who tell confident stories. The more confident they sound, the more they might be relying on System 1, intuition and pattern matching, instead of System 2, careful analysis. This is why financial analysts fail so often. They construct plausible stories, not accurate ones. Part 6. Overconfidence, the planning fallacy. Here's a question. How long will it take you to finish a project you're working on? Most people massively underestimate. This is the planning fallacy. Your brain is irrationally optimistic. You think everything will go perfectly. You ignore past failures. You underestimate complexity. Kahneman calls this overconfidence bias. Businesses fail because of overconfidence. Relationships end because one partner was overconfident in their own judgment. People make bad investments because they're certain they're right. Your System 1 brain loves certainty. It hates saying, I don't know. But here's the truth. Most of the time you should say, I don't know. Even experts are wrong far more often than they admit, but their confidence makes them sound right. Part 7. The good news, how to think better. So your brain is flawed, your thinking is biased, you're overconfident and easily manipulated. Is it hopeless? No. Kahneman offers a path forward. The solution isn't to eliminate System 1. You can't. It's too fast, too powerful, too wired into your biology. The solution is to strengthen System 2 when making important decisions. Don't trust your first instinct. Ask for data, not stories, actual numbers. Consider alternatives. What else could be true? Acknowledge uncertainty. You don't know what you don't know. Seek outside views. Your perspective is limited. When you do this, something magical happens. You start to see the world more clearly. Not perfectly, but better. You become less manipulable by marketing, less susceptible to fake news, less likely to make catastrophic mistakes. You become aware of your own thinking. Part 8. The bigger picture. Kahneman spent 50 years studying how humans think, and his conclusion is both humbling and hopeful. We are not rational creatures. We are creatures of habit, pattern, intuition, and story. But we have the capacity for rationality. We can train ourselves to notice our biases. We can demand evidence. We can pause before believing our first instinct. This book isn't about becoming a robot. It's about becoming more human by understanding the automatic programs running in the background. Every time you catch yourself making an assumption, every time you pause to check your confidence, every time you ask for evidence instead of accepting a story, you're rewiring your brain. You're moving from System 1 autopilot to System 2 awareness, and that changes everything. The question isn't, will my brain ever stop fooling me? The question is, will I develop enough awareness to catch it? And that journey starts with understanding the two systems. Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow isn't just a book about psychology. It's a mirror, and what you see in that mirror might surprise you. Because once you see how your thinking works, you can never unsee it. So here's my question for you. What's one decision you're making right now where you're trusting your gut? Take a moment. Slow down. Engage. System 2. Check the facts. Ask for evidence. See what changes. And if you found this breakdown helpful, there's a whole library of ideas in this book waiting for you. Go read it. Your future self will thank you.